Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are, and welcome to NerdTube's sort of chat and talk, not necessarily review of Arcane League of Legends. I just want to first of all say that I don't play League of Legends, never played it, not interested in it, not my type of game. But I started watching this show after hearing some reviews, some of my friends talk about it, and they were thoroughly impressed. And I thought, I'll give it a shot. I've got Netflix. And I'm so glad I did give it a shot. Thank you very much. It's just myself today, Daniel. I was totally hooked on this show from the first episode. I love the steampunk aesthetic to this show. I've always been a big fan of that. The visuals of this show was amazing. The art style was fantastic. Interesting characters as well. Everything about this just got me intrigued. And we got to meet new characters along the way and let go of old characters as well. People, who had some character development during the course of this show, but then they were gone. Now, somebody who doesn't play League of Legends, I wasn't sure what characters were within the game, but I'm pretty sure a lot of these guys are. Maybe apart from Silco, I heard he's not in the game too much. I know Caitlyn is the Hat Lady. I definitely know about Jinx. She's a very popular character in the game. Not too sure about everyone else, but then during the course of this show, when it came to certain episodes, like we saw Jace here with a hammer, I thought to myself, yeah, that's definitely a character. Even Vi, when I think I saw her with those gauntlets, I thought to myself, yeah, she seems definitely like a character. Apparently, Victor is one as well. Nevertheless, this show had lots of different things going for it. There were so many different types of storylines as well as an overall arc. There's this one city called Utopia, which is kind of split into two. You've got the north side, which is like the rich side, the fancy side, and then you've got the rundown side, which is the south side, and they're split by a bridge. A bit like how London is, by the way. London's got a river splitting north and south of it. Same with the city of Utopia. North and south has been split by a river, and there's bridges connecting the city of Utopia above ground. Everything is happening in the city of Utopia, but it looks pretty cool, by the way. Sorry, I'm just trying to show what Daniel's written here. The voice actors, the soundtrack, the aesthetic, the story, yeah, absolutely. And there was so much story going on. I mean, for instance, we had the character of Vance here. And I'm going to start playing this slideshow. We had the character of, not Vance, Jace. He creates this sort of blue stone, which we see very early on in the episode. Look, they're all chasing it here. And this is like some sort of element of magic. And he's trying to mix magic with science. And not everyone in this world, especially, I think his name is Herminja. I think that's how you print that little sort of rat dude, who's one of them council guys. He definitely doesn't want to go down that route. There's Jace there again, and he actually changes the stone into a more marbly sort of substance as well to make it, less crazy, so to speak. Here's Vi as well, one of the main characters of the show. There's a couple of episodes where we don't see her because we do get a time jump during the course of this show. But look, there she is when she's younger, and there's Jinx younger as well, and these two lads either side of her. Unfortunately for them, they die, but their essence and the sense of how Jinx looks at things, like she still keeps those two guys in her memory. This is Selko. He's the villain of the show. Probably one of the best villains I've seen in television and movies in recent years. They've really done a good version of him. This is Marcus. He's one of the policemen in the show. And he kind of sells out a little bit. And he also ends up kind of like regretting selling out because his family gets, what do you call it? Gets threatened by Selco because he works for Selco to a degree. Trying to play both sides a little bit, but he does regret that. This is Vanda. He's like sort of the boss of the underground. He's a good man, but it's somebody you wouldn't want to fuck with. And he's also like a father figure to the kids before he passes. This is Victor. He is somebody who is also trying to improve his own life as well, because he's a cripple. He came from the underground city, and let me just pause this here. He came from the underground city, and he, because of his knowledge in science and so on, he was able to live in the north part of Utopia because he's a knowledgeable man. Other elements come into play as well. I believe we have this purple liquid called shimmer, which is you can see in Selko's hand here in this picture in the bottom right hand corner. This is some sort of like, the only way I could describe it is like the venom liquid Bane uses in Batman. Like, it makes you bigger, stronger, more dangerous, but it also makes you unpredictable as well. And because of the altercations Selko's had with Vanda, he uses some of the shimmer liquid on himself by injecting it into his eyeball, which is kind of fucked when you see it happen. We do see the loss of Vanda, I think, by the 3rd or 4th episode. And after that, we get a time jump. And then we see Vi older, Jinx is older now. And by the way, the issue between Vi and Jinx, I believe, is Vi blames Jinx for the loss of their friends, because Jinx has got this thing with. So Jinx used to be called Powder. That was her old name. And Powder likes to blow things up because that's her skill, making bombs. And as she's gotten older, she makes more bombs. But unfortunately, Powder, who then changes her name to Jinx because everything she does is a Jinx. Like, she's a Jinx on the team. She fucks things up for everybody. She makes things worse. And whilst growing up, and she then becomes under the tutelage of Silco here, she becomes fucking crazy. I mean, this girl is fucking nuts. And people might want to compare her to the Joker and Harley Quinn and shit like that. I hate those comparisons. She's just fucking crazy on her own. And unlike Harley Quinn, she's fucking independent. And I like that about her as well. Caitlin here, she's a police officer. And we see her as a young girl pretty much at the beginning of the show. But because of the time jump, she does grow up as well. And she becomes a young woman. And she's one of those people who sees both sides of the issue. Like, she's a lot of the cops in this show, they're who are on the north side, who fuck over the south side quite often. They're quite reprehensible people, like Marcus, which we saw earlier. But Caitlin, she is a lot more empathetic, and she does try to make the people on the underground city understand what's going on above ground, and at the same time she's trying to make the people above ground understand what's going on with the underground people. She's in a very precarious position, and I don't envy her at all. Her and Vi definitely have something going on. I guarantee you've heard nearly every one of these voice actors somewhere before. Star Trek, Marvel, so many games. They got a great group together. Yeah, they did. Like Haley Seinfeld. She's the girl who'll be in Hawkeye, and she was in Transformers Bumblebee. She does the voice of Vi. Caitlin is played by the girl of Chinese origin with the Scottish accent from Harry Potter. She also was in The Foreigner as well with Jackie Chan, and she gets killed off very early. She played Jackie Chan's daughter. Some of these other actors I wasn't too familiar with. I think Jinx, the girl who plays Jinx, I kind of recognized her. But yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of these guys are established voice actors. The guy who plays Herminger, the little mousy guy, he's like apparently a voice coach as well. So yeah, I'm not too surprised. Come here. Sorry, my bird, she's being really naughty. Like I said, there's a lot of things going into play here with this new magic rock and this shimmer drug as well. and the sort of like this uneasy alliance. And I won't even say alliance, but there is at the time there is like a war. At the same time, there is an alliance between the North and the South side. We get some crazy moments. I remember there was a cop, like a lady cop, and when she got killed off early on in this show, I was kind of surprised by that. But she seemed to be also one of the voices of reason as well. So her being killed off was interesting, because without these voices of reason around, it means that the alliance between the North and South becomes more uneasy. And obviously Marcus as well, who just seemed to be the understudy and not too much of an important character. Once his boss gets killed off, he comes into play and becomes more of a prominent character in the show. I'm just trying to remember what else is in here. I mean, Vander's death. When he dies, Selko pretty much takes over the underground city, because Vander was always the person stopping him from being a bigger player. With Vander gone, Selko takes over. He takes over his bar as well, and he also has a really cool right hand woman with a prosthetic left arm, who is a really good character in this. On a couple of occasions I thought she might have died, but she didn't. And she does have a really good fight scene. I think this is actually funny if I mention that fight scene. This clip here, I think, is an image from that fight scene, and she survives it. I thought she was going to be killed off when her and Vi had this fight, but no, she doesn't. She survives, and she could be the person who ends up taking over from Selko, because Selko does die at the end of this, and he dies at the hands of Jinx, I believe. It was Jinx, I think. But Jinx is so fucking crazy. And there was a really good moment as well when you thought Caitlyn had died, because Jinx had served a meal to a tied up Vi, because she had Vi hostage. But Vi was thinking that maybe this was the head of Caitlyn in this dish, which was covered up, but that wasn't the case. And it had us all falls. Maybe it should have been the head, but then again, it was a bit too predictable if that was the case. Mel as well. Let me just get back to the beginning here. It is Mel, isn't it? Yeah, Mel. She's an interesting character too. It's like she's somebody who's definitely a lot higher up. She's ambitious for sure. Let me just pause that and go back. She's ambitious for sure, but would I consider her to be one of the bad guys? Like a more corporate bad guy, a more political bad guy? It's really hard to say. Her mum comes into play later on in the show, and her mum is like a huge muscular woman as well. And she's like, you see like a little flashback scene regarding a thief and stuff like that. This young girl, and Mel wants this thief, to be freed, and showing mercy to this thief would have been a good example to the people of the underground city. But the mum just chops off her fucking head, the thief's head. And this is a child as well, like maybe a teenager. Just chops the head off, no remorse. And as I was watching this show as well, I mean, prior to that scene, I kind of realized that this show is actually not for kids. The F word was thrown around on a handful of occasions. The S word was thrown around on a handful of occasions. There was a sex scene between Jace and Mel as well. There were some very awkward scenes as well. Like, there's some creepy scenes. Like, I don't know how old Jinx is supposed to be, but her and Selko, like, their relationship was borderline creepy as far as I was concerned. But everything about this made me realize that this is definitely not the show. This is not a show for kids. And I very much appreciate that. I'm a big fan of adult animation, and this definitely delivered. Now, regarding this magic thing, which Jace was trying to show the world of utopia that magic is the way forward. It actually buys him a place on the council, and him and Victor, somebody who used to be part of the underground city, are trying to develop new technologies using magic. Victor himself being a cripple, he actually starts experimenting on himself with the magic, because he wants to. He's not only like a cripple, but he's also like really sick as well. He's got some sort of bronchitis or some shit like that, and he will eventually die. So, which is why he's experimenting on himself. But unfortunately for him, some of the experiments go a little bit too far, and this is where Herminger was actually dead against all these experiments, because he could foresee some darkness happening, and apparently there was some dark figure as well. It was really hard to pinpoint what that was about. Could it have been Victor in the future? Who knows? But nevertheless, Victor did experiments on himself, and at one point he does actually kill his assistant by accident, which really pisses him off. Well, upsets him as well, for sure. And we also find out regarding the shimmer, which is this purple liquid. I believe it comes from this creature, which was unusual. There was a lot of like creatures in this as well. Like we had those fireflies as well, which blew up. They kind of came in later in the show. Daniel Vance has said class warfare, humanity versus profit, drug addiction. They touched on a lot in just one episode. It made up a whole. It made the world feel more grounded in reality. Yeah, you meant one season. Yeah, not one episode. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, there was so much. And the alliances as well. There's way too much to deal with, and even we got new characters. Like we had that guy with the jaw. I kind of liked him a little bit. So when he got killed off, I wasn't too surprised, because at the same time he was relatively new. He came in late on the scene, but how that whole scene portrayed, like you had the lady with the metal arm, who is Selko's like henchwoman. And it looked like she had turned on Selko and was going to kill him instead. But no, she kills the guy with the name was Finn. I love that scene. That was really good. We did have a beginning of the episode, by the way, when we saw like the sort of destruction and carnage between the north and the south. I thought that was a flashback scene or something like that, but no, that was the beginning of the episode. It kind of gave you an idea of how north and south are divided, and then it continued from there. I also thought the underground city was hidden from the north, but no, they knew it was there this whole time, and that's why they were wearing those masks as well, because the gas under there is not, that the air under there is not too breathable, especially if you live in the north, because you're used to clean air. And so they wore masks when they were down there. Also, there's a character called Echo. I remember this young lad. We see him as a kid earlier on, and then he ends up being a young man when we go forward in time a little bit, when they all get a bit older. And Echo was the guy who wore that sort of owl mask and was on the hoverboard. And yeah, he played a prominent role. I thought he died, because him and Jinx have a fight, and then when he gets one over on Jinx like deploys a bomb right next to both of them. And you would have thought that bomb being right next to them would have killed them both off, but no, that wasn't the case. And then Jinx, who's already fucking crazy, gets reanimated with the shimmer drug, and she becomes even more crazy, and that's when we have that sort of Mad Hatter's crazy tea party near the end of this episode. There was a lot, and it's really hard to delve into everything, but I'm sure I would have missed things out. I just, like I said, I love the steampunk side of it. I'm a big fan of steampunk, and this was very steampunkish, and I want more of it. I want to see more of that steampunk technology in play. I like the way they had those floating ships in the sky and stuff, which was pretty cool. We did see other races of creatures as well. Herminger was a little rat total dude, like a Jiminy Cricket sort of guy. And we also saw, regarding rats, we saw like a bigger version of those as well. So that, just want to see more of these creatures, because this is not set on Earth. This is set on a entirely different planet as well. I think there are other story arcs as well. I believe Mel's mum was mentioning about somebody trying to go after their family or something along those lines. It's really hard to say where that's going and if there's more to that arc. And maybe that'll come into play in season 2. Jinx, she is still alive, I believe. So where we go with that, because she shot the rocket into the council, and the council had people like Jason there. It had Catelyn's mum in there, had a whole bunch of people in there. What's going to happen to them? And will Caitlyn and Vi finally get it on? We don't know. Selko is dead, so we'll need a new villain now. Maybe the villain will be Mel. Maybe it'll be Mel's mum. I mean, they're good candidates to be the new villain. Maybe it could be Victor. Who knows? I mean, that's if they survive that explosion. It could be Jinx. I mean, Jinx is fucking nuts. And I very much appreciated her craziness. I loved it. I loved the fact that we could see her craziness, that she had people talking. You could see her mind playing tricks on herself, and seeing like the people that she accidentally killed, communicating with her and trying to make her make decisions and stuff like that. It was absolutely fascinating. But where we go next season, I don't know, but I can't wait. Mel's mom, yeah, she was a big woman, dude. Big ass woman. Extremely muscular as well. Like this is what concerns me, because you look at the 4 women in this picture, as well as the men, they're all strong characters. But the lead character, Vi, she's definitely an LGBTQ character, and that's going to piss people off. You got women front and center of the show. Like at one point it was like it's basically Vi versus Jinx. That's going to piss people off. They're going to go down the woke train because they just don't like seeing women in more prominent roles, even though I think they were very well written. I can't complain about this. I did think the last 3 episodes, I got a little bit confused by things. It was really hard to understand what was going on, because that magical entity, which was like a Rubik's Cube on steroids, it was hard to understand what the fuck was going on with that. Victor's body becoming sort of, magic-like, half magic, half not, and it was just weird. I mean, was he actually getting better or not? It was hard to bloody tell. So many things. And what about the guy who makes the shimmer potion? Is he's, and it's funny in a way, like they cards, and because they were able to use speed. The moment Vi came along with her gauntlet, she was able to match him, and she didn't have any magic speed or anything like that. Vance came along with his fucking hammer, which would have put Thor to shame. He didn't have any magic speed, but they were able to fight those fucking dickheads who looked like they were from BioShock. It was bizarre, crazy. I didn't mind it. Like I said, there was some really good moments. I very much appreciated what we got in this, and as somebody who doesn't play the video games, I still enjoy this. I'm not sure about yourself, Daniel, if you play the video games. If you do, let me know. I mean, how accurate was it to the video games? And the characters, they resemble the characters from the video games. Were there moments when you thought, oh, That's from the video game, because it's very hard for me to know these things. But as somebody who doesn't play it, I thought this was fucking great. I really did. I was very, like it did. Like I said, it did get a little bit confusing in the end. You haven't? You had no expectations going in? That's fair enough. Yeah, we're in the same boat, dude. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. But like I said, let me just pause it here. I was kind of hooked on the first episode. I remember this first episode, they were stealing some stuff from Jace's house. And, they're just kids there. And this is where it makes you think you're watching more of a kid's show. Because that fight they had in the alleyway as well, which was really fucking good. And they beat the fuck out of those guys. And it really did. And when these two lads, they died, I was gutted. And that was because of Jinx. Because she's so fucking crazy. And I'm not sure if Jinx and Vi were actual sisters. They went on about being sisters, but were they like blood, or were they sisters by being together all the fucking time? In that sense, it was hard to say, hard to know. So I guess we'll find out all of these things maybe in the future. I'm sure, like, some lost family member will come back in season 2. Shit like that always fucking happens. We had a lost family member come back in this season with Mel's mum. So you never know. And family members always play a prominent part in extending the story in any sort of show, especially when you have multiple seasons. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, this was a great start. I had a really good time watching this. And I can't wait to see where this goes. It left on a cliffhanger, and any show that leaves itself on a cliffhanger must really believe in itself, especially on the first season, because this could have been absolute bullshit. And if it ended on that cliffhanger, then it was never going to be resolved. But I do think it will be resolved. It's got a massive following, Riot Games. I don't know how many people play League of Legends. I was watching some reviews of this show earlier by League of Legends players, and they were mentioning certain things which were similar to the game. And a lot of people who played League of Legends did enjoy this show. So I guess that's got something. I mean, it's funny in a way. Cowboy Bebop, I only watched a handful of episodes back in the day, and I never got into Cowboy Bebop, the animated show. But I thoroughly enjoyed the live action show. But apparently some people, not many, but some people who watch the animated are not too happy with the live action. And I thought this might have had a similar thing going for it. Some people who played the video game will not be too happy with the animated version. But I'll say this, there's been live action or animated versions of video games, and they don't necessarily do too well. This, in my opinion, is one of the best I've ever seen of a video game adaptation into I don't want to say live action, but into just media entertainment, storylines, character development, all of that sort of shit. This is one of the best. Because usually when they try to make video games into entertainment like this, it turns out to be really shit. But this was fucking good. The animation was astonishing. I really liked it. There was the odd time, the odd angle, the odd bit of lighting where it looked real as fuck. And I give the animators a lot of credit. It's not shell shading, but this animation style is kind of unique for me. I don't know how to describe it, but I very much appreciated it. So I think I'm going to leave it there, but we're about 30 minutes in, and I can only jibber jabber about this for so long, without losing myself. But I've really got no more to say than that. I would like to know what everybody else thinks regarding this. Daniel, thank you very much for staying with me on this. Did they appreciate the show as much as I did? I fucking loved it. I give this an 8 out of 10. I was about to say 7, but I'll give it an 8 out of 10 because it exceeded my expectations. You know, and this is what one thing I like about stuff like this is like I didn't know what I was going into before I watched it. So when you don't know anything about a show and you just start watching it, no trailers, nothing, you're just watching it from the beginning, and it ends up being this fucking good. You have to give it some high praise. And so yeah, 8 out of 10. It could, I mean, it got a bit confusing at times. The time jump really wasn't explained too well. Kind of came out of nowhere. And yeah, I think 8 out of 10 is very generous for what it is. I liked it. But I'm just trying to find my nitpicks why it hasn't got a higher mark than 8. But this is how I feel about it anyway. So yeah. So I would like to know what anyone else thinks about this show. They could leave a comment below. But I'm going to be wrapping up here now. Did you find it as pleasing as I did? I fucking loved it. Couldn't get enough of it. I can't wait for season 2. I just hope it comes soon. And I hope the people at Riot Games are going to give us a season 2. I hope Netflix will give us a season 2. Because apparently this show is not doing too well in America, but it's doing really well in the rest of the world. But no offense, fuck America. Yes, I'm glad you're here, Cheeto. As I said it just in time, fuck America. It's not all about them. If the rest of the world are enjoying this, then Netflix, give us a fucking season 2. There are a lot of people in America who are also watching this. You know, they don't need. I'm gonna pause it here. We don't need to cater just for the fucking Yanks. You know, the rest of the world like this. This is a really popular show outside of America. So fuck those fucking, you know, biscuit and gravy eating motherfuckers. Make it for us, our tea and crumpet motherfuckers. All right, great. So once again, let me know what you think. Don't forget to leave a like, share, comment, and all of that crap. And don't forget to subscribe to NerdTube. We are the greatest YouTube channel you never fucking heard of. We'll see you cunts later with many more reviews coming up, like Hawkeye, Star Trek. We've got some wrestling stuff coming up as well as He-Man too. So yes, catch us on that. Take care. Bye-bye.